Welcome. Glad you all are here tonight. Hope you can stay for the whole meeting. Is that fine? No? Okay, they got other places to go. Well, in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, I now call the meeting of order of the Mesquite Independent School District Board of Trustees on this Monday, November 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. I also confirm that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting was posted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Again, thank you all for being here. We will now proceed with our agenda. Board members, we do not have any executive session tonight, so we will head on to our regular meeting. Tonight, we've got an invocation that's going to be given by the Reverend Jim Burt, who's pastor of Oaks Drive Baptist Church, and following the invocation, we will have the pledges of allegiance that will be led by the students from Range Elementary School, and you are all invited to join in the invocation and pledges if you wish. And those that want to join in, please stand. Reverend?
Father God, thank you for this district. Thank you for every teacher, student, administrator, board member, volunteers, teachers' aides. Thank you, Father, that you have blessed this school district for a number of years that we can't even count. And Father, we always ask provision for wisdom, strength, funding, and Lord, that we look back on the years of the Mesquite Independent School District and we see that this is a district that has persevered. May we always love one another, respect one another, and honor you, and thank you for allowing this district to function in the manner that it has. And again, bless everyone going forward with wisdom and strength. And we pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Get started.
You can go ahead and get started. Oh, we got more coming. Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourselves in the mic.
My name is Gael. Fifth.
All right. Thank you. Next.
What's your name?
Danny.
She can't reach it.
Second.
Second grade. Good.
My name's Demi. I'm in second grade.
All right.
My name's Arya.
Kinder.
I'm in pre-K.
All right.
My name is Kessler, and my grade is third.
Yay. All right.
My name's Olivia, and I'm in second grade. My name is Drew. I'm 4. Pre-K.
All right.
Hi, my name is Tristan, and I'm in 3rd grade.
Okay. Cool.
Good.
Hi, my name is Des, and I am 4th grade. Hello, my name is Jariah, and I am in 2nd grade.
Hello, my name is Jason. I'm in 5th grade.
All right.
Good.
Hello, my name's Lex. I'm in 4th grade.
All right, thank you. Again, thank you, students from Range, Kelly Locke, appreciate that, and Reverend Burt, thank you very much for being here tonight. We will now move on to our Team of 8 moment. First is I'd like to recognize Miss Sabrina Smith, if she would come up and talk about some exciting news from Mesquite ISD.
Thank you, Board President, Dr. Rivera, trustees. I am very, very excited to share some wonderful news with you. We learned last week that Mesquite ISD has been named among Forbes' best employers in Texas. In addition, the best employers for women nationwide. We were ranked 56th on the list of best employers in Texas. You can see the entire list is on our website. You can see the article there in the news section, but I'll just mention that a couple of entities that were ranked below us were the University of Texas and Southwest Airlines. That tells you the kind of company we're in. Additionally, the Forbes magazine ranked us 65th on the best employers for women list. That's in the nation. And there were only 7 school districts on the Texas list, and only 10 school districts recognized nationally. So very, very excited. This honor highlights the district's commitment to creating an environment where all 5,450 employees are excelling and belong. So we're very proud of this.
Thank you very much for that great news. I'd like to now ask Dr. Rivera to talk a little bit about a couple of topics.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. President. So I wanted to raise a couple of us, Dr. Fields and Dr. Morris and Kara Jackson from our executive team, got the opportunity to travel to San Antonio to celebrate our 5A bands that made it to state. And I'll speak for them. We couldn't be any prouder of the North Mesquite Big Blue Band and the Poteet Band that represented Mesquite very well. We were so proud. They did an amazing, amazing job. So I want to bring that forward.
That it? Okay. I would like to take a minute to say that we are very proud to celebrate Mesquite ISD trustee, Mr. Kevin Carble, who was named a 2024 Distinguished Alumni by Dallas College this last couple weeks ago. Mr. Carble graduated from Dallas College Eastfield with an associate degree before earning a bachelor's in finance from Dallas Baptist University, and later a master's in business administration from the University of Dallas. The recognition from Dallas College highlights Carble's longstanding commitment to leadership, service, and community involvement, and we are grateful for his contributions as a trustee and his dedication to supporting educational initiatives here in this district for the success of our students. Again, Mr. Carble, we're proud of you and congratulations.
Thank you.
And I don't know how he got this picture, but we think he had a makeup artist to help him out a little bit.
A little bit.
Next, I'd like to call on Dr. Fields to come make an announcement about an article.
President Seward, trustees, and Dr. Rivera, I am excited to share with you and our community that our superintendent, Dr. Rivera, was recently spotlighted in an in-depth article published by the Holdsworth Center. The Holdsworth Center has a long history of investing in public education as well as developing leaders at the campus and district level. To that end, they chose our superintendent, Dr. Rivera, as an exemplar leader and showcased his successful transition into the superintendency. The portrayal of Dr. Rivera in this article is exactly the leader we see day in and day out. As he describes his transition from the deputy superintendency to the superintendency, he shares his learning, the challenges, and the successes in his typical transparent and humble manner. Holdsworth also highlights his passion and commitment for developing his direct reports, his employees such as myself, as well as increasing student opportunities all throughout the district. We are proud to see the profile on Dr. Rivera, and we encourage you to read the article if you haven't done so already. The QR code on the screen here takes you to the article at the Holdsworth Center website, holdsworthcenter.org. You You can also look at the latest news section on our district website as well as our social media accounts and see the article located there. We're very proud of our superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Fields. I will say that we are extremely proud of Dr. Rivera for his passion, but I'll say that as a board, and I think the others could speak up, when we say we have a team of 8, the 7 board members and the superintendent, we truly have a team of 8. And I think that that's a great thing for this district, but I think that you'll find that maybe there's districts that have great teams of 8, but not all districts have it. But we do have one that the relationship, the trust factor, the integrity is just beyond our expectations.
No, I had several educators in other districts reach out to me because of that article at Holsworth. And they called me and texted me and said, "This guy's the real deal." And I said, "You have no idea." He really is. It was very well done, and it conveys very well the heart and soul of this man. So we're thankful for that.
All right. And thank you. We appreciate you. We're proud of you.
Appreciate you too. And I would say to my team, because they're the heart and soul, I want to say thank you to the team, thank you to this board, and the work is just getting started. And the article says that I'm learning a lot from this role, and that's not an understatement. Every day is a learning experience in this role. Every single day. So thank you.
All right. Next, I'd like to call on Ms. Tia Collier.
We had a chance to go cheer on West Mesquite. They did awesome. The weather was not cooperating, but they did fantastic. This is the season for people start to get tired, right? Like we're rolling up to Thanksgiving and people are ready to do other things. We can finish strong. There's lots of good stuff happening at our campuses. There's lots of places for you to plug in and to cheer people on and to share a little love with them and remind them that they're doing good work. It's a time we can finish out strong and then come back again.
Well, thank you. And I'd like to call on Ms. Hornsby.
Yes, this is, as you know, you came today, you know that this is Veterans Day. And I would like to recognize 2 of our veterans that are on school board. Mr. Seward served in the military in Air Force. And Dr. Rivera is also a veteran from the Army. So thank you for your service. We appreciate it very much. And if you're a veteran out there, we appreciate your service for all that you've done for our country. You know, the freedoms that we exercise all of the time in our classrooms, in our community, and across our nation is because somebody defended that freedom. And so we want to thank every veteran for what you've done, and we have profound respect and gratitude. So thank you for your service to our community.
And thank you. I'll just have to add to that, Dr. Rivera used to jump out airplanes, and I think that's why he can be a superintendent. He can jump out with the parachute, but he's not afraid to jump in and get things done. But he did he served his country well, and he was an Army Ranger, and we appreciate that. All right, let's move on to student and staff guests, and Ms. Sabrina Smith, if you'll start us off.
We begin tonight's special recognition portion of the meeting with the prestigious Apple Corps program. The Apple Corps Award is made possible by a new partnership between the Mesquite Education Foundation and Clay Cooley of Mesquite. So we'd like to thank both of them for their support of our excellent teachers. And our first November Apple Corps honoree is Vula Stefanu of West Mesquite High School. Vula is an advanced math teacher with 13 years of teaching experience in Mesquite ISD. If you'll turn your attention to the screens, we're going to learn more about Ms. Stefanu.
Great at her craft. She builds amazing relationships with her kids. She advocates for them relentlessly every day, and she doesn't stop till every student who walks through her door is successful. Every person in this building is better because they're around Ms. Stefanu. She makes us all better. She pushes us, and we're just really thankful for her. So there is no one more deserving of being an Apple Corps teacher than Ms. Stefanu.
I think teaching is equally important for the teacher as it is for the students. I think as teachers, if we can create a safe academic environment for students, we're providing them the opportunities for them to feel safe and confident in their learning and in their growing. I would like to think I foster that kind of environment and I get to teach a subject that I love while doing it. So at the high school level, our students are taking steps and preparing for their futures after high school, and I'm just honored to get to play a small role in that journey.
I'm going to read the resolution. That goes to you too. Whereas the Mesquite Independent School District Board of Trustees seeks to honor outstanding classroom teachers who demonstrate leadership, innovation, and dedication to the students of Mesquite ISD, and whereas the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps consists of exceptional teachers nominated by their peers to receive the school district's highest recognition, therefore be it resolved that the board officially welcomes you, Vula Stefanou, into the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps on this 11th day of November, 2024. Thank you very much.
Mesquite ISD are at West Mesquite High School. I'm very, very proud to be a Wrangler. In my 14 years of teaching, all of which at West Mesquite High School, I have had 3 amazing principals that I would like to thank tonight for all of their support and all of their encouragement in my growth as an educator. Alicia Austin, Dr. Karen Morris, and my current principal, Dr. Jordan Simmons. Thank you for all of your support and for encouraging me to really just do what I want in the classroom and to build a capacity for learning in my students. I am also very fortunate to get to work alongside some of my best friends. I think it's very convenient that I get to wake up every day and get dressed and go to work and do it alongside people who have such a passion for education that I can call my best friends. So they know who they are and they know that I value their support, and I have thanked them personally, but they are a big part of one reason why I love my job. I would not be the teacher that I am, the person that I am, without my supportive husband who is here tonight. He allows me to embrace my sometimes ridiculous passion for teaching. We partner together in parenting our 2 wonderful children who are also here tonight, Ava and Michael. And they're all the way in the back there. And so I just want to make sure he knows that I love and appreciate him and his understanding and bringing work home almost every single night. But that's just, I guess, one reason why he loves me. So I would not be the teacher that I am, or the person, or the mom, or the wife that I am without my role model, who is my mother, a retired calculus teacher. I think because of her, I aspire to just keep growing and learning in and out of the classroom. She is not here tonight as she lives in Greece, but I am fairly certain that she is watching or will be watching the recording tonight. I think I wanted to be a math teacher because of her even before I could even spell math. And so everything that I have as a teacher, I credit to my mom, who is my role model. So thank you again for this evening and for this recognition. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you.
Our second Apple Corps honoree this evening is Sandra Simmons of Range Elementary. Sandra is a kindergarten teacher with 31 years of experience, all in Mesquite ISD. Let's take a look at what makes Ms. Simmons an Apple Corps teacher.
Mrs. Simmons is nothing short of an incredible educator. For over 20 years, she has dedicated countless hours not only to our students, but also to supporting and growing teachers throughout our district. As an E-Tip Classroom Scholar, Ms. Simmons is constantly looking for innovative ways to serve our diverse and ever-changing population. We are so proud of you, Ms. Simmons. Congratulations for being inducted in the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps.
I think education is important because I teach kindergarten, so we are the foundation. It's just amazing to see those young children blossom and bloom in their learning and those aha moments, to see them move on in their years and take that foundation with them throughout their elementary years. So education is the best gift that a child can receive to help them on their journey in their education and their lives.
Ms. Sandra Simmons. And Sandra here? Sandra, I have to ask you, did I add a decade, or is it 20 or 30? Okay. I just wanted to make sure. It's a very long time, all in Mesquite ISD. Thank you very much.
Then you get an envelope as well. And you get that, but you can't touch it. And until we're done. Just kidding. So let's read the proclamation. And it says, whereas the Mesquite Independent School District Board of Trustees seeks to honor outstanding classroom teachers who demonstrate leadership, innovation, and dedication to the students of Mesquite ISD. And whereas the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps consists of exceptional teachers nominated by their peers to receive the school district's highest recognition. Therefore, be it resolved that the board officially welcomes Sandra Simmons into the Mesquite ISD Apple Corps on the 11th day of November of 2024. Congratulations.
Okay. You are older than 6, so I'm going to read. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. Receiving the Apple Corps Award is truly meaningful to me as I stand here reflecting on the last 32 years of teaching. From the first day I stepped into a classroom, my goal has been to spark a love of learning and curiosity in each young mind. Every child I've taught has brought something unique, and each one has helped me learn and grow as much as I've hoped, as I hope I've helped them. First, I want to express how grateful I am to have grown up in Mesquite. I had the privilege of attending Lawrence Elementary, where I made some of my fondest memories with teachers and friends who felt and still feel like family. Vanston and North Mesquite also hold a special place in my heart, shaping who I am today and filling my life with unforgettable experiences and connections. I am deeply grateful to my colleagues and administration for their support and collaboration, which have been essential in creating an environment where students can truly thrive. We know that teaching goes far beyond imparting knowledge. It's about nurturing resilience, curiosity, and kindness. I couldn't do this without the incredible community beside me. Thank you to my teammates and the entire Range family for your unwavering encouragement and for the genuine love that you bring to our students each day. To my principal, Kelly Locke, thank you for making Range a place of joy and safety for both students and staff. Your dedication and love for our students and their families inspire us all and make Range a special place to be. Your fun, crazy personality and ideas are just what we need. And one day, I hope your dream of an indoor slide will become reality. Yeah. Thank you to the families who entrust me with their children's first formal experiences. It's a privilege to be a part of these foundational years to help shape the confidence and joy that carry students forward. I also want to express my appreciation to the students themselves. Every day, they remind me of why I chose this career. Their growth, excitement, and wonder make every challenge worth it. This award is for all of you and for the countless teachers who pour their hearts into this profession. A heartfelt thank you goes to my husband, Todd, and our children, Blake and Lacey, who cannot be here tonight. One's on their honeymoon, and their families who have been my constant support through every late night, every weekend spent planning, and every joy and challenge that comes with this calling. I also want to give a special thank you to my sister, Sherry, who served as a principal and has been a constant source of inspiration and wisdom in my career. Her example as an educator and leader has guided me and reminded me of the profound impact we have as educators. Thank you again for this honor. It's a highlight of my career and that I'll cherish always. Thank you.
Ms. Simmons, could we get your just your husband's here, if you stand for us to recognize him and thank him for backing you? And those from Range Elementary that are here to support you tonight, if they would stand, we'd like to recognize them and thank them.
Come on, Kelly.
Wow, there they are. Yeah. Hi. And Ms. Stefano, if your family's here, if they would stand, we'd like to recognize them. And your West Mesquite family that's here. Any West Mesquite? I'm sure there's a couple. There he is. Thank you both. We're very proud of you and appreciate you very much in this district. All right, we will come down for the next one.
All right, and congratulations to both our Apple Corps honorees this evening. Each month, we recognize one of our outstanding paraprofessionals with the Star Para Award. This year, we are excited to have First Financial Group of America partnering with us to provide the Star Para recipient with a $50 gift card. I'd like to ask our FFGA representative to join our November Star Para, Patricia Carson, and the Learning Center principal, Dr. Valerie Nelson, at the podium up front for a photo. Hey, Valerie.
Picture first or afterwards? Well, good evening to our amazing school board and my boss, the superintendent, Mr. Rivera. Well, all y'all my bosses, really, aren't you? I stand before you with great honor to present to you Ms. Patricia Carson. Ms. Carson has been with us short of a decade, but I met Ms. Carson about 8-9 years ago as a sub at Tysinger when I was the principal there. She was a hard worker then, and she's even more of a go-getter now. If get it done is a person, it would be Ms. Carson. If there's a way to make it better, she's looking to do that. So we are delighted and excited to be a part of her career and journey here in Mesquite ISD at the Learning Center. And we're just so excited to share this award with you. And thank you for making us better.
Next, we are pleased to recognize our November community partner for supporting Mesquite ISD and the Mesquite community. Common Threads Cooking for Life has joined with our Family Engagement Center to offer hands-on cooking classes for Mesquite families. We have a video to show you more about this great partnership.
This month, we are happy to present Common Threads as our community partner. Common Threads has been a partner with Mesquite ISD Family Engagement in providing healthy cooking classes to parents, families, and children. We have certified chefs that come by and teach the class. It's a hands-on, interactive course where parents and children can learn about the differences between what is a healthy meal and what is not a healthy meal. We also offer a program called Small Bites, which is an after-school program promoted in the schools where children learn what is the difference between healthy snacks and non-healthy snacks. They get to enjoy and prepare these meals within their classroom. and then get to taste test it. In addition, Common Threads has also provided produce boxes with fresh fruits and vegetables for our families attending any of the cooking classes. We are so excited about all the new adventures Common Threads will host for us at the Family Engagement Center and at all of our schools. Thank you once again for showing us how to have a healthy lifestyle.
All right, we're going to move on to our student recognitions for this evening. First up, we're going to welcome some very special leaders. We have our middle school and high school student council presidents here with us tonight. First up from McDonald Middle School, we have Jayla Timms. Next up, from North Mesquite High School, we have Jordan Hernandez with sponsor Zach Brimiger. Next up, from our Wranglers, West Mesquite High School, Eric Berry is their student council president with sponsor Kaylee Davis. Next up, from John Horn High School, we have Jahan Morella with sponsor Tonique Cottery. Over at Mesquite High School, the Skeeters have co-presidents Jesslyn Areguin and Lana Vasquez. Their sponsor is Aaron Van Sickle. From Woolley Middle School, we have Skylar Thomas, National Junior Honor Society president. Over at Fraser Middle School, we have Carlos Diaz with sponsor David Peacock. And we welcome from Kimbrough Middle School our co-presidents of National Junior Honor Society, Bailey Black and Ryan Smith. Their sponsor is Jennifer Miller. From West Mesquite High School, we have National Honor Society President Madison Gilbert, and their sponsor is our Apple Court nominee tonight, Ms. Stefanu. Next up, we have National Honor Society President from John Horn High School, McKenna Briggs, with sponsor Rebecca Wilburn. From Vanguard High School, we have National Honor Society President Amarachi Okea with sponsor Mercy Reyes. From North Mesquite High School, National Honor Society President Ariel Easter, sponsors Joni Hutcherson and Mandy McLean. From Poteet High School, we have co-presidents David Flores and Maria Alvarado with sponsor Myra Prats. And last up tonight, but not least, we certainly want to introduce you to some very talented student athletes. We're going to celebrate their impressive athletic accomplishments. First up, from West Mesquite High School, we have Taylor Alvarado, who placed 6th in district cross-country meet. Okay, let's do it all at once. Okay, and also from West Mesquite High School, we have Dayanara Aravello, 6th place in district cross-country meet. And Kamel Ward, West Mesquite High School, cross-country. Coach? Are we doing a group picture? Oh, come back. Jog on back. Now from Poteet High School, we have Alexa Harris, who placed 5th in the district cross-country meet, along with Melanie Coronado, who placed 8th in the district cross-country meet. Jacqueline Cisneros placed 9th in district cross-country meet. Jeremy Martinez placed 10th in the district cross-country meet. And thanks to our coach, Sergio Estrada, Poteet High School cross country. Let's get a group photo, Coach. Okay. Next up, we're going to recognize the Poteet High School tennis team. They were by-district champions and an area qualifier. We have a representative from the team here, along with Coach Phil Gordon. And finally, tonight we have from Mesquite High School, Natalia Sanchez, 6th place in the district cross-country meet. That's it. That concludes our student recognitions for this evening.
I got two. Indicated they wanted to speak before the board tonight on agenda items? Nope. There being none. Board members, if you are okay, I'm going to move up from business and action item to approve the independent audit for 2023 to 24 for financial operations. Mr. Prado?
Good evening, President Seward, Board of Trustees, Dr. Rivera. Here tonight for your consideration, the approval of the FY 23-24 audit. With us tonight is Selena Cereceres. She is the public sector partner in charge for Willie Penn with the report, and she'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. I also just wanted to say thank you very much to the accounting team, specifically Kimberly Chappelle and Mary Martinez from our team that have done a great job getting us to where we are today. But I'm certain that you will be happy to hear the report from Selena.
Thank you, Mr. Prado. Dr. Rivera, President Seward, thank you for having me here tonight. And we'll go through the results of the 2024 financial statement and single audits. And I want to echo Mr. Prado's comments as well. The process was a lot smoother, a lot seamless, and you all have been improving in the last 2 or 3 years. So kudos to your team that you have in place, and I think you'll be pleased with the results. So the purpose of our audit is to issue an opinion on the financial statements, and there's 3 types of opinions that you can receive, and they worsen as you move from the bottom up. So entities do not want a qualification or a disclaimer because that indicates that the records are poor. Every entity wants an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. However, it's not easy those are not issued automatically, right? It's a tedious process that begins as early as the spring and March, April timeframe, where we gain an understanding of the different risks of the district, what has changed from the prior year, what new federal programs do you have, what internal controls have changed, and then we come on site, we identify the key controls, test those key controls, and then determine the extent of our substantive testing. And that substantive testing entails looking at the financial statement figures, corroborating, confirming, vouching with third parties, or looking at the Texas Education Agency reports, all in an effort to issue an opinion on the financial statements. With the opinion, if it's an unmodified opinion, good, bad, or ugly, any entity or regulatory agency, rating agency can take the figures and say, we can rely on the numbers that are presented here because of the procedures that were performed over the financial statements. The internal controls that we really focus on are non-payroll and payroll. Those are the big items that we look at hand in hand with procurement, right? Human resources is a big area that we look at just because the majority of your expenditures within the district is payroll, so we put a lot of focus on that. Information technology feeds all of these areas, so we do look specifically at user rights as well, user access rights, and the controls surrounding your financial software. PEIMS is integral when it comes to budget, your finances, attendance, et cetera, so we really perform many procedures over that area. Because you do collect cash at various campuses for the child nutrition program, we perform control testing over that and ensure that we apply or perform procedures to mitigate the risk that comes with collecting cash. And then finally, with the major federal programs that we test as every year, we have to apply various procedures over those federal programs that come to us from the Office of Management and Budget at the federal level. I had alluded to these procedures, but here it is in one screen, all of the different types of substantive procedures. We start with our basic analytical procedures, a flux analysis, what changed from the prior year to the current year. And then when we obtain an explanation from your management team, we then have to corroborate that. Was that in the board minutes? Was the board aware? We just don't take, inquiry alone is not sufficient. We perform predictive tests, and the best example of that is looking at the collection rate of your property taxes in the last 10 years compared to what you collected in the current year. Vouching is looking at, did it make it to the bank? Is there supporting documentation? And confirming would be your investment pools, any type of investments that are not your normal pools, and also your cash confirmation, and finally your debt is confirmed through a third through the bond agencies or the holders of that. The third parties of that. The third party reports are from the Texas Education Agency. There's a payment report of all funding, whether state or federal, that is flowed through the Texas Education Agency. Then we also use the comptroller's payment report that allows us to see what type of state funding has flowed through the state of Texas in total, not just the Texas Education Agency. And then finally, state aid, since it's just such a large portion, we can verify with the summary of finances the information that's presented in there. But because state aid is such a huge portion of your revenue sources, we do perform a lot of procedures over attendance and PEIMS, because that drives it, not just property taxes, but also attendance. On the federal program side, every year we have to select different programs based on risk and based on size. This year, the Child Nutrition Cluster was selected as a major program. The big three, I like to call them, are Title I, Child Nutrition, the Special Education Cluster. In prior years, in the last 2 years, Title I and Special Education were tested, and it was the Child Nutrition program's turn. ESSER 2, 3, T-Class, and all of the tranches that come with ESSER and the ARPA funding, the last remaining tranches, had to be audited. The federal government did not, oddly, did not make it high risk, but because the compliance supplement was not issued until late summer. We had already done our work. We continued with it. And in our opinion, it's still high risk. It's a large sum of money, and we thought that we should continue to audit it. Child nutrition expenditures and revenues totaled $28 million, while ESSER and all of its components totaled $26 million. You spent $86 million in federal funds alone. These two programs make up 62%. We do have to issue an opinion over these federal programs, and we are issuing an unmodified opinion. We also look at the internal controls over these programs, and we have no findings to report. I believe also, did I include that? Okay, I didn't include the opinion for that's why we're here. The opinion for the financial statements is also unmodified. So because you do spend more than $750,000, we see here that you spent $86 million in federal funds. We have to apply government auditing standards on top of any federal requirements and on top of any generally accepted auditing standards. So there's three types of recommendations that we can make. Recommendations, any control improvements that we see, there could be significant deficiencies, or material weaknesses. Material weaknesses being the worst type of control deficiency that there is. This year, we don't have significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. We made two recommendations, which I'll discuss here in a bit when we go over the budget to actual, but nothing that needed to be reported in the single audit report or to any regulatory agency. And that's why it's kudos to your team for those efforts. If we start with the general fund, and this is your operating fund, the most important fund within your financial statements, not to discount any other fund, but this is what you budget for on an annual basis and you review closely. What I've presented here is the final budget for 2024 compared to the actual results, and then also looking at how the district performed revenue-wise in the prior year. So that you'll see that in your local revenue, you'll see a drop in your local revenue, primarily due to property taxes. This year, your property taxes within that $99 million in the local revenue was $87 million. But if you go over to the next group of graphs, you'll see that your state revenue from prior year to current year increased significantly. And that's because there's always that inverse relationship between property taxes and state aid. Even though your tax rate was compressed, property tax collections were less, the state then supplemented that deficiency in property taxes. So to make the district whole, if you will. Well, we don't know if you're ever made whole, so I say that lightly. I use that, I've been very careful with that. But when you see that decline in local revenue, you'll see the increase on the state side. You'll see that you had budgeted for $319 million in state revenue. The actual, you performed better than your budget. And of course, last year it was $272. Federal revenue, but you budgeted $14 million. Actual results were $12 million. Within that, the $12 million includes indirect costs for all your federal programs, and then also your school health and related services, or SHARS. That makes up about $11 million of the $12 million. Last year, it was a lot larger, and for two reasons. You have more federal funding last year for the various tranches of ESSER funds, and then also there was a change at the state level for school health and related services where funding was cut significantly. So overall, you'll see that your revenue increased overall by about $28 million, and you performed better than your budget. When we look at your expenditures, you'll see that the bulk of your funding is spent on instruction and related services. And the second largest category is your facilities, maintenance, and services, which is your repair and maintenance, your utilities, anything having to do with, as the name indicates, your facilities as well. You'll also see that in the total column that you had budgeted for $429 million, you exceeded that by about $2 million. You'll see in the note disclosures of the entire annual financial report that we make mention of that overage. That is a 1% overage, which is very good budgeting. Mainly what we see with school districts is 4 to 5% variance from budget to actual. So although you went over, it's a 1% increase, and it's not material. We met with Dr. Rivera and Mr. Prado and Ms. Chappelle as well, and we discussed it, and we compared it to our materiality, and it was not material, but we still have to make note because of that overage. If we look at what the percentage makeup of these various expenditure categories are, as I alluded to earlier, your instruction-related services make up 61%, and then also your facilities maintenance and operation makes up 11%, and student support services is right up there at 11% and $47 million as well, which is a combination of your transportation, extracurricular, guidance, counseling, etc. I will note that in the general admin, which is the dark blue, almost purplish at the top of the slide, it's $12 million or 3%. You are on the lower end compared to most districts, and so that is also of note for Mesquite ISD. When we look at payroll cost, you'll see that your instruction payroll cost alone are 56%. And then when you aggregate the remaining $114 million for payroll costs for non-instructional, you're well over, you're at 82% of payroll. And that's why we put so much emphasis on those payroll and human resource controls as well. So I think this chart drives the point home of the importance of testing payroll on our part. Now the important, where did we end the year? What is the ending fund balance for the general fund? It decreased slightly by $3 million, and at the bottom of the slide, you'll see that this year, you had to transfer $11 million out to your internal service funds for the health fund. So overall, you actually added to fund balance about $6 million, but you had to fund that internal service for the employee health fund as well, and that's part of the benefits that the district provides to its employees, and that is being subsidized by the general fund. So again, you did well, but that excess was used for that internal service fund. Last year, you transferred $17 million, so it's significantly less than last year, but still that is what reduced that revenue over expenditure excess. Now, the best indicator is what TEA looks at, what rating agencies look at as well. A couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the Texas Education Agency started combining assigned and unassigned fund balance and comparing it to your overall expenditures. And so your assigned or unassigned fund balance makes up 30% of your expenditures, and you should be at, and that actually is about 100 days or so, a little over 100 days. TEA asks you to be at 75 days or more. So you are meeting those metrics. Another thing that I will say is that you're a June 30th year end, so you have July through November, December to fund on these reserves until your property taxes start coming in again in the December, January timeframe. So you need this healthy fund balance. And also, because you do have such a large amount of federal funds, these federal funds are on a reimbursement basis. You have to fund it first out of the general fund, then you can claim reimbursement. So a healthy fund balance is required to operate all the other programs within the district. Any questions for me? Yes, okay, thank you. That's it, yes, sir.
I read through it. I read through it. I don't know if it was detailed. A lot of work
Yes.
And all your team worked hard at this, working with Whitney Penn. I want to thank everybody for their patience out here. Board members, you have any questions?
I'd
you
just
very
like to say, this is one of the best reports that we've ever received, so thank you very much.
I want to thank all of you that were able to stay for a few minutes. I know this is maybe not what you want to hear, but it's really important for you to hear some of this because this district does run very well. We have a great Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Operation, and his team does a great job of keeping us close. As you said, they're within 1% of that budget, which is great. But also, as taxpayers, you want to know that this board and this district and the staff are doing everything we can to fund the resources or use the resources we have to do what we need to, which is for the classroom as much as we can. So this team and this staff, they do a fantastic job. We're very proud of them, and we're proud of the audit. It was a great audit. And with that, thank you again for being here. Congratulations to all of you, and we're going to take about a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. Board members, this is an action item. I'm sorry.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Carbo and a second by Mr. Everett. Any more questions or discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you again. Have a good night.
All right, the next item on the agenda is your consent agenda. Board members, are there any items on the consent agenda that you wish to pull and discuss separately? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Who's so moved down there? Mr. Bingham?
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Bingham and a second by Ms. Hornsby to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion or comments? There being none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion passes. Next, we'll move to reports under the superintendent. The first is personnel. It's a report on resignations and new hires. Are there any questions or comments? There being none, all right. We'll move on to the effectiveness reports. The first one is on bilingual ESL. Ms. Carolina Portillo, is that right?
Portillo.
Good evening, members of the school board, Superintendent Dr. Rivera, and honored guests. It is a pleasure for me to be here tonight to represent the bilingual department and to share our report. I would like to start my presentation by summarizing the why and the how Mesquite ISD is committed to serve our students with one statement in mind: excellence always. With our first slide, I would like to picture how our district looks. And as you see, about 36% of our population are LEPs, which is emerging bilinguals, ELs, ELLs. You know, we have many terms to define them. I would like to start with a legal framework. It is the state, is a policy of the state that every student in the state who has a primary language other than English and who is identified as an emerging bilingual student shall be provided a full opportunity to participate in a bilingual education or English as a second language program. To ensure equal educational opportunity, each school district shall identify emerging bilingual students based on criteria established by the state, provide bilingual education and ESL programs, seek appropriately certified teaching personnel to ensure that emerging bilingual students are afforded full opportunity to master the essential knowledge and skills required by the state. That's exactly what Mesquite ISD does every single day. Our department, well, of course, assessing the academic achievement at the end and the linguistic process. Our department does a little bit of everything. So I like to compare our department with a district itself, because honestly, we do every single thing that each department within the district does, with a population, of course, smaller. We do the identification process, and we oversee that process at the B Center. The Bilingual and ESL Enrollment Services Center has been seeing students from 50 plus different languages. That is what describes our population, our current population. 25% of the current LEP population that we have at this point has been evaluated this year. So it means that over 3,000 initial LPACs were performed at the B Center this year. When I say this year, I'm referring about 23, 24, of course. Placement reviews and reclassification is another process that we also oversee. We not only place the students initially in the classroom that they need to be and with the services that they need to receive, but also we review their cases at the end of the year, and we reclassify them and place them in the new classroom or setting. In August of 2024, I'm very pleased to say that we exited or reclassified 1,190 students from being emerging bilinguals to being English proficiency students. After the identification process, we take care of the placement workflow. At the B Center, we monitor and balance the bilingual units' capacity. We make sure that our units are at the level that they should be, of course, taking into consideration the shortage that we're facing and all the different challenges. We try every day to make sure that our units are at a good place. So we also work in conjunction with the Human Resources Department, hiring, interviewing, recruiting people, trying to find those, bilingual certified teachers, ESL certified teachers, those golden unicorns that are, very difficult to find these days. We also track certification, the status of every campus, if we are meeting the policy not the policy, but the requirement that we have, the expectation of teachers getting ESL certified. And we also monitor the actual services. We every year, we monitor the list of students that need to be receiving ESL services, and that, they are placed at the correct section. As I mentioned before, due to the shortage that we're facing, campuses struggle every day trying to be able to serve students, correct? So we work with them trying to elaborate or design the plan of action to cover those students and the services that they need. When it comes to instruction, we start with the development of the bilingual curriculum. All the pieces that we present in front of our students and all the lesson plans, every single piece that we present in our bilingual classrooms are elaborated by our team, from grades pre-K3 all the way through 5th grade. We develop also the ESL curriculum. We follow a gradual release, not program, but a gradual release process where the students are able to digest the information and then be able to master the skills. We do that all the way from pre-K3, 12th grade. The implementation piece means that we are out there, our lead teachers and our coordinators are on a daily basis just making sure that the curriculum that we design to be implemented out there, it's actually implemented, and the implementation is done in the correct way. Development of Spanish district checkpoints is another area that we oversee. We create them from scratch, trying to align as much as possible as the ELA counterpart. Next, we definitely have a very robust and solid support system. Last year, we developed and provided 61 professional development sessions. They were developed and delivered for pre-K3 all the way through 12th grade instructors and administrators. 548 coaching/PLC sessions were guided, directed, or they collaborated in the performance of those sessions from grades, again, pre-K3 all the way through 12. 35 elementary campuses DAD meetings and 27 secondary DAD meetings were attended also by our lead teachers, coordinators, and all the staff, the team members. And last but not least, I want to share about the parents, family, and community area that we oversee as well. Mesquite ISD has its own its own department that oversees this part, but because we manage the Title III funds, we have the responsibility of going above and beyond and providing that supplemental part. So based on what the law says and the legal framework, the activities that we oversee, provide, or develop needs to be in addition to what we already do for every single student. That being said, this is the list of items that we have prepared and provided for our community. Mesquite ISD La en Familia. It's a program where we focus on the academic skills of the students, and we work along with parents and the family members to develop those skills. Read, Play, Talk collaboration, we work as well with the department in the preparation and the delivery of it. Battle of the Books, there's a Spanish division that we also prepare. The Newcomers Program, the Feria Latina is a huge event that we do every year and has been a hit every time. Feria Latina ESL parent classes, we provide for our community. GED in Spanish and GED English classes as well. Teacher assistant certification, warehouse logistics certification, middle school transition night, college transition night. Goodbye TELPAS is a new piece that we added last year from the three perspectives: students, parents, and administrators, and multilingual spelling bee, which also expanded last year. This year, we're expanding that even more, touching Burmese this time, so it's a new piece. And just to summarize and the presentation, I would like to share with you a quick video that we prepared for you to enjoy.
The role of the bees is to identify those students who need bilingual or ESL services. We identify those students that are coming in from a previous district that have something other than English on their home language survey and have been identified, or those students coming for the first time to Texas Public Schools.
Okay, has a student ever been in a Texas public school? Yes, he's been in Dallas and Richards. Okay, perfect.
But this is very important to the students as we place them in the most appropriate language program that will benefit and they can be academically successful in.
I have kids that have been in public schools in the United States since pre-K, and then I have children that are new to our country.
I have students that speak Arabic, Burmese, and Spanish.
Majority of my classroom does speak Spanish, but they're all from different parts of South America.
My classroom is diverse in terms of language levels and academic abilities.
We have about 900 EB students on our campus. They range from beginner, newcomer, to advanced high, 9th through 12th grade.
You have kids that are very fluent in English and kids that only know one or two words.
This diverse presents a challenge and opportunities for students to meet their needs in the classroom.
More than a third of our student population is emergent bilingual. And so that's where the heart of our campus is. So that's why we're so focused on making sure that every student gets to attend a school where a teacher would want to send their kid.
Maria thought, Maria Claus, she was, more than The department, the bilingual and the ESL department provide great resources. They answer any questions we have about our emergent bilingual students.
They provided me with my aide, which has been the biggest blessing in my classroom. She helps all of my newcomers to help feel supported and create a really good environment in my classroom.
We have trainings throughout the year, after school, during school.
At the beginning of the year, we assess students using a resource called Amplify. We take those results and we meet with our instructional coach to come up with ideas of how to give data-driven instruction. That helps and guides students as well to meet all of their needs.
PLCs, which means we meet and we talk about all the different things that we can use from the curriculum.
And we get monthly strategies that help us with our students.
Also, we have a wonderful lead teacher who is always available, and she's never scared to come out to our classroom.
That PL part is huge. My favorite thing that I get to work with Tony, she looks at data with us. How are we making sure that this lesson fits the needs of every learner, including our emergent bilinguals?
The outcome is making my classroom a better learning environment, making me a better teacher, providing me with the tools that I need.
Unlike before, where we would have to go find them everywhere, now they're more reachable. And it makes my job easier, and I can provide more resources, more strategies for my students to learn.
We see our students have so much growth.
It helps my students a lot receive not only the information that everyone else is receiving, but also receive it in both languages.
Our students are more successful because of those things.
That's a good A.
That's a good A, Aiden.
That's all I have. Do you have any questions? No, thank you. Everything is because of you. Thanks.
Our next report is student performance assessment accountability review. Don't run. Don't run.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. So I am here to talk to you all this evening about assessment data from 2024 and what I can about accountability. As you know, we still have some results that are held up in litigation, so I have plenty of other things to talk to you about. First thing we're going to look at is comparison data and then 5-year trends so that you can see how did Mesquite ISD do versus the state, and then how have we done over the course of several years so that we're not looking at just 1 year in isolation. We'll look primarily at the 3 performance levels, approaches, meets, and masters, but we will focus on meets or better because approaches is not where we want our students to be. It's an acceptable by the state standard, but meets grade level literally means they're on grade level. So that's what we should want for our kids. And then when we're looking at 5-year trend data, remember way back in 2021, that was our first year after COVID when we were doing VLA and hybrid instruction, which seems like forever ago at this point. And then 2022 was our second year after COVID, but it was also the last year before all-star tests were redesigned. So that's going to impact when you're looking at 5-year trends. And then I'll share with you toward the end some feedback that we've gotten and just best practices that we've identified along the way. So the first thing you're looking at is STAR RLA at the meets level. This is reading language arts. We test 3rd grade through 8th, and then English 1 and 2, and reading language arts. And so if you look there at that orange bar, that's that first year after COVID when lots of kids were at home and we were teaching through computers, and we all expected a learning gap there. The next year after that, 2022, is when we had a bit of a bounce back for the most part. But that was also the last year that the STAR test looked the way that it did. And you'll notice that there is no 2020 year in there, so 2019 is really 6 years ago, but we didn't have a test in 2020. So next year, that'll look different. We'll be able to cycle through and have 5 continuous years. But you'll see that in grades 3 through 8, we saw a bit of a dip after the green bar for the previous 2 years, and we're kind of working through recovery. It looks a little different at the high school level. Part of that is just the weighting on the tests for the different parts of it. So that's at the meets level. And then this is the master's level. And you'll notice quite a bit of a change here. We attribute this primarily to the redesign of the extended constructed response, or the ECR, the writing part of the test. Prior to 2023, students only wrote for STAR in 4th grade and 7th, and then English 1 and 2. Now it's every grade level, and the test itself is different. So there really are 3 things that we think attributed to this drop-off at master's level. One is what I just said, the fact that students are now testing every grade level. There's also the weight of the ECR. That one essay is worth between 16 and 19% of their overall score. So if they don't do well on it, it's really difficult to hit the master's level. In fact, for some of our grade levels, if they're not perfect on every other part, if they get a 0 on their ECR, which isn't hard to do at this point, they will not be able to hit the master's level. The other thing that's impacting that is just the way the test or the question is scored. It used to be if you wrote something, anything that made even a little bit of a sense, they give you a few points for your effort. That is not the case anymore. If they don't address the prompt, they get 0. If it's a perfectly written essay with every comma in the right place and every word spelled correctly, but it doesn't address the prompt, they're getting 0. And so we're working through that because we recognize that that's really where our students have struggled. So the next part I'll show you is breakdown between MISD versus the state. And now we're looking at approaches, meets, and masters, but we're looking for our 2 biggest groups of students. So this is just our economically disadvantaged and Hispanic, because those really are the biggest groups that are the best way to compare across the state. And you'll notice the numbers that are green are the percentages where we are above the state, and the numbers that are red were where we are below. So obviously we want to have more green than red. You'll see with Hispanic students that's green almost at every grade level, but there's a lot of red elsewhere. So I wanted to show you then 2023 so that you can see that we have made gains. There's more red here. We've made more progress. If I go back, we're moving in the right direction, but I think we can all agree it's not where we want to be at this point in terms of off-state averages for those grade levels. The next thing that I wanted to show you then is about the ECR itself, because this had such a big impact on overall scores. So looking at 2023 versus 2024 and the percentage of students that got a 0 on that ECR. So when you look at the 2023 column, we really weren't necessarily surprised. It was the first year out and we were figuring out how it scored and what students need to do. There was a lot of work put in last year to make improvements, and we didn't see it for the most part across those grade levels. So if you look just across as a grade band, 3rd and 4th grade are the only 2 that saw less 0s. Those are the percentages. The rest were an increase. The biggest change that we've noted between the 2, the 2023 test versus 2024, was how they were scored. Starting in December of 2023, for the EOC retest students, those were those automated scoring engine graded by the computer, not AI setup. And then all of the ones from the spring were tested that way, 75% by the computer scoring engine, the other 25% by human graders. If you look, though, on the other end of the spectrum, students that got a 6 through 10, because I thought, well, if the bottom end has gotten bigger, but so has the top end, so that's a good sign. We have, in some ways, been able to get students, more of them, to score between 6 and 10. A 6 would mean you got 2 points for the idea that you wrote and 1 point for your grammar and your mechanics and spelling. A 10 is a perfect score. That means either two scoring engines or 2 humans each gave you full credit, which is 5 points, 3 for your ideas and 2 for your mechanics. Even though we have 1 red number here, if we follow the cohort of students rather than go across grade levels, in other words, the 8th graders in 2023 got 21%. When they got to high school EOC, they got up to 25%. So if you follow the student rather than the grade level, you'll see that there was an increase from each grade level on increasing scoring on the ECR. Okay. I'm going to move on to math unless you'll have a question about RLA. We can always go back, of course. So next subject, math at the MEETS level. Also, we test math at all grade levels, 3 through 8, and then Algebra 1. This test probably got the least amount of redesign. There is no writing on the math test like there is on the other 3 where there's a short constructed response. But what is different about the math test with the redesign is what we call STAR 2.0 questions, where it's things like drag and drop, where they have 4 numbers or equations and they have to pull them into the menu on the screen rather than just work out a problem. So there are different question types that students haven't been as exposed to, and so that's really the redesign that we saw on math. Probably the biggest drop that you see here, and we always want to talk about, is that 7th grade number because it looks so low. Keep in mind that those 7th graders that took the 7th grade test were the only 7th graders that we did not advance to 8th grade. In 7th grade, we've got kids taking 7th grade content, and then they're fast tracking through 7th to get to 8th, and they're taking the 8th grade STAR. And that's so that they can take Algebra 1 in 8th grade, so that ultimately they can take calculus when they're a senior. If they don't get 5 years of math in, they will never get to calculus. So that number has historically looked low. Those are all students that probably have been weaker math students over the course of a few years. What you'll probably see next year is a bit of a change when we do a comparison to the state, because we have been moving those students on a fast track before we were required to do so. Now it is a mandate that we do that for the top 40% of our students in 5th grade that score. They have to go into advanced 6th grade math so that they're going to be kind of siphoned that way going forward. But we've been doing that for a few years now. If you look at the master's level, you'll see similar trends, particularly for those 7th graders. And it doesn't necessarily surprise me. If I can hit masters on 7th grade, I should have been taking the 8th grade tests then, because we want those kids that are more apt to be able to move into Algebra 1 to do that when they get to middle school rather than wait till they hit high school. When you look at Mesquite versus the state, 7th grade is the one grade level where we're low, but that's because not every district has done what we have done, which is move those 7th graders that are able to do the 8th grade content into the 8th grade area. This is where I would expect to see this looks different next year when everyone is expected to move those 6th graders in, and then the 7th after that should be in taking 8th grade content. But even the areas that are green, the double digits, if you look at the previous year, we've increased even in some of those. So the gap between Mesquite and the state is larger in our favor in terms of math. Okay. On to science. So science has 3 tests, grade 5, grade 8, and biology. And coming in 2026, when new curriculum will be tested on STAR, those tests will have a different name. It's going to be called elementary science and middle school science, which is a good thing in a lot of ways because the onus is not just on that 5th grade science teacher to get those students ready. They've learned concepts since 3rd and 4th grade that are cycled back through, and we need to have good solid instruction at those lower levels to assist those when they hit the 5th grade. But you'll see here that the 5th grade across the state was really low. We're not that far off from where the state is. It looks low because it is. That's not where we want to see our students. 5th grade science is the first science test they've ever taken, and so it really is important that they get some good foundational science curriculum before they get there. When you look at the master's level, similar trends. After COVID, we dipped. Then after the test was redone, the difference really for the science test was the inclusion of those short constructed responses where they are having to respond to a prompt and do some writing. And those are worth 1 to 2 points. When you look at it versus the state, you'll see that even though 5th grade science was low, we're ahead of where we are for approaches, but again, that's not where we want to be. Meets and masters were a little bit off pace with the state for 5th grade, but ahead in 8th grade and biology. From the previous year, though, very similar numbers. For social studies, we have 2 tests. 8th grade, and then US History. In 8th grade, social studies by far is the test that across the state and in our district was the lowest performing for all of our students. We had 55% it did not meets. When you look at the state, it was about 50, so we're not that far off, but that's definitely not where we want to be. What I can say is those orange bar students, that 21% in 2021, were the US History students that are the purple in the end. So it took a few years, but once they got to high school and got into US History, we went from 21 to 64% with those students, if we follow the cohort. So we know we have some work to do with social studies. This is another one of those, it's the first time they've ever taken a social studies test. It's a lot of reading, and it's different than when I learned social studies, and probably a lot of you, names, dates, places, what happened. It's not, those aren't the types of questions they answer now. It's a lot of cause and effect and draw conclusions, and yes, and no memorizing your capitals. That's just not what we do anymore, which is not a bad thing, but we're gonna have to teach them that way so so they learn at the level that they're tested. If you look at the master's level, you can see grade 8 is obviously even lower. We've got some things in place to help with that I'll talk about in a moment. But US History, we had a nice turnaround on this. So this was MISD versus the state. You can see we're off pace at grade 8, but a little bit above for US History. If you looked at the previous year, 23, you'll see we were behind. So there were some strategies we put in place for US History that looks like they paid off. So we're just replicating some of those now with our 8th grade curriculum. So these are some of the district-wide initiatives, things we're doing to address any deficiencies that we've seen. First things first, we've had so many conversations and meetings around utilizing our students' ECRs, what they wrote last year, to help inform instruction and intervention. So we can see how a student wrote. We get those back now, and we're able to show the student and work with them specifically on what they did to improve their writing, because it doesn't do a whole lot of good to have them rewrite it if they don't get feedback on how they wrote it and to know specifically what to address. We're also keeping eyes on elementary science at all levels so that administrators are looking for science instruction to make sure it's happening in the 3rd and 4th grades at the level that it needs to be, so that it's not just that 5th grade science teacher that's responsible for getting students ready for the test. We also have a new resource through Lead Forward. We've had some really good success with Lead Forward resources prior, and so Social Studies Plus is one that we are utilizing now to assist 8th grade social studies. And then the big thing that we saw was just, we have a lot of teachers that are really good at teaching students that are low to help them to the next performance level, but we can't always teach where they are. We need to teach where we want them to be, so that we're not getting comfortable with kids or feeling good about getting questions right, but they're at the approaches level. We've got to get them to meets or better, or we're not getting them where we need them to be. We're creating bigger gaps every year along the way if they stay at approaches. And then the other thing that we're looking at is not just identifying students that did not meet for intervention, but students who were masters prior who fell back to meets, so that we get them back to where they have performed, so that we're really intervening at all performance levels, not just the lowest levels. And then the last two, we've had a lot of collaboration with EDLDs and teaching and learning, just making sure that we're having good communication about what I see in my department versus what they're seeing, boots on the ground, and then from teaching and learning, the support that they're providing. And then we've kind of added back in something that we had not done for a few years, just updates every month when we have administrators information, whether it's something that I learned at the Texas Assessment Conference, or keeping things in front of them to remind them of the best practices that we've committed to do to improve our students' outcomes, so that we have that sustained focus throughout the year. It's really easy to tell them in July what they need to do, and if we never revisit it, it's probably not going to happen. So with that, I will take any questions you may have. Okay. You're welcome.
The next item under administration is a discussion of district-wide intruder detection audit report findings. Mr. Morris.
I'll be brief as usual, but I did want to remind you all of what the TA intruder audits entail, because it's been about a year since we've really talked about what they do when they come and visit our campuses. But you all know that they come and visit every one of our campuses. They'll do 100% of our campuses this year. They send an auditor that works through Region 10, and the auditor will try to get into 3 exterior doors. They'll park in the parking lot, walk up to the building. They may walk around the building, and they're going to try to get into 3 exterior doors to see if they can gain access to the building. Once they can't do that, they go to the front office and check in with the front desk, and then they'll walk with the member of the leadership team, the principal, the assistant principal, or one of their other leaders, and they'll walk every exterior door in the building and to see if any doors are ajar, if any doors are propped open, if any doors are unlocked. Once they do that, they'll come inside the building and they'll check classroom doors. They'll also check to see if we have a log of how we do our door checks. And so you know that we go way beyond what the state's requirement is and check doors 4 times a day. And so we are able to show those things. So that's what they do each time they visit. So far, we've had 18 campuses that have been visited, so about 35% of our campuses, and we're sitting at about a third of the way through the school year. So they're on pace to get finished. 14 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and 1 high school. We have not had any findings so far this year, but as a reminder, if we have findings, we discuss those at the upcoming District Safety and Security Committee meeting. Any questions?
Taylor, let me ask you this. Once they pull up to the parking lot and they go around the buildings to start checking doors, at what point do they raise eyebrows inside?
Well, if anybody sees that happening, we have had some instances where we've had a coach on the field. They'll ask somebody, can we help you? Can I show you where the front office is? And I'll tell you, the auditors love it when that happens. Yep.
Good evening. You have this one pager in front of you that was created by our communications department. As you know, the 89th legislative session is about to begin. Bill filing started this week, so we are going. This has been the work of many of you, plus lots of other school districts. We have a legislative advocacy committee with parents and community leaders. There's been a lot of people help us put this together. It's basically mostly focused on funding. We all know how the 88th legislative session went, and so we are focusing on funding for the 89th session. We are asking that the legislature raise the basic allotment. This has not been done since House Bill 3 back in 2019. And as you know, with inflation, we are asking to raise the basic allotment plus also index for inflation. Districts that are creating their own grow your own programs, like we are, trying to combat this nationwide teacher shortage. And we spend about $4 million a year from our local budget to grow our classroom instructional aides who want to become teachers. We want to help them finish their bachelor's degree, get their teaching certificate. And so we are asking, along with the other districts that do this, we are asking that that be funded. We are also looking specifically at the areas that are underfunded. We are $31 million roughly underfunded between school safety, early education, special ed, and career and technology. And so the 67 other school districts in the North Texas area that we work with, we are all going in with these areas, and we are asking for what we need. And then the last thing is something that has been a priority for us for about 20 years, and it's going to continue to be a priority. And we are going to ask that to prevent the use of tax dollars for private school funding. And this is an action item.
This year, and not only the school district, but the city and the chamber. And we're already having those conversations of teams that are going to go to Austin. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Our community is backing us, and they're going to Austin with us.
I like the way this was laid out because this focuses on fully funding public education and hitting our highest needs and preventing vouchers is the bottom because we know what's going to happen down there, but we can still fight and ask for guardrails on that part. But I think the biggest thing, and I sat in on one of the conference calls with the districts in the area, they talked about, they took away, they're not talking about vouchers at all. They're talking about fully funding where we're underfunded, and keep that focused with all of our legislators for public education. Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Carville? No. Mr. Everett? Or Rose? Who's second? Ms. Collier? And motion by Mr. Carville and second by Ms. Collier to approve the legislative priorities. Any further discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is under instruction. It's an action item to approve policy EIC local, the academic achievement class ranking. Dr. Morris? Fun.
Fun. Good evening, everybody. I was asked back in the summer to take a look at our EIC local regarding our ranking grade points. And so what I'm going to show you is the proposal that we've come up with for you, and then I'm going to talk you through the process of how we've come to that. So the change that we're proposing is that our grade weight categories, which are currently AP, honors, and regular, would be changed to collegiate, advanced, and regular. With this change, our AP, dual credit, and on-ramps courses would all be in the same GPA category that would be in collegiate. Currently, in the one that we have right now, AP is all by itself. So this would move our dual credit and our on-ramps into that same category. This would place all of our eligible advanced and GT courses in the middle category of advanced, and then all other eligible courses would be in the regular category. The additional change is to make a difference in the intervals in between the grade weights, and I'll show you those here. Currently, what we have is what they call the double plus one interval. What we learned in our research of other districts is that we are alone in that, and that does not exist other places. And so what we are proposing is a simpler interval of 4, 5, and 6 for those grade weights. So really what we need to talk about for a minute is why we're even proposing this change. And that is that what we felt was right, and when I say we, I mean a whole lot of people went into this. I worked with focus groups of campus administrators, counselors, central office folks, all kinds of people in lots of different scenarios and focus groups to arrive at this consensus. And that is that all of our courses that are tied to college credit should be in that collegiate category. One thing that some people don't realize is that it actually is somewhat difficult to get into your dual credit courses because you have to meet the TSI requirement to do so. So we didn't feel like that was right for them not to receive as many points when it's even more rigorous to get into the classes to begin with. Also, what we've learned is that more and more universities are taking dual credit courses without hesitation. Additionally, we're offering a lot more dual credit courses in Mesquite ISD. When we did a study of 7 like districts, all of them had moved to this change as well, so that made us feel even more confident. So like I mentioned before, this was not the Karen Morris project at all. This was absolutely included a whole lot of people. In addition to campus admin, counselors, CTE, admin services, and advanced academics, I really want to thank specifically Dr. Rhonda Davis and Valerie Mayad, who gave countless hours to really make this change far more sharp and crisp and ready. We reviewed, like I said, our local Region 10 districts that are similar, and then also reached beyond that to look at other districts in the state who are like us in their makeup. And then what we also did, and I say we, it was really Rhonda and Valerie, prototyped the proposed changes with existing top 10 kiddos to see what that impact would be, and we all felt really good about the way that that would line up. And so, of course, as we follow this change from its development and inception all the way to its rollout, we want to make sure that we are paying attention to all of those implications. And that is that we can't just start this now. That could be really disruptive to our kiddos who are currently in high school. And so we would begin this change in the coming year with next year's ninth graders. Additionally, we worked with Lane King and Danny Chapman on information services to make sure that it would work in terms of what those weights would look like in Skyward, and so that that would be nice and clean. I don't understand anything that they told me, but it sounded like it's going to work. But that's their job to know that stuff. And then what we want to make sure is that we are communicating the benefits of all advanced courses to our students and to our families. There is plenty of room for our students to have dual credit, on-ramps, and AP courses, and we feel like this gives them so many different opportunities to be able to explore many options in high school. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Questions? Mr. Rose?
So in the past, a student whose goal is to get the highest class rank possible was geared towards AP courses because they weighed more as far as the points you get depending on your grade.
That's true.
What we've done is align AP, dual credit, and on-ramps to where they've got more choices and they don't have to stick to strictly AP, because I found from experience with one of my college kids that not all colleges honor AP. They don't honor all the AP tests either. So you can also get burned that away. So this seems like it's going to do a whole lot more good for a whole lot more kids.
I'm really excited about the variety of options that it provides. I think it also gives some space in our students' schedules for things like fine arts and athletics, so that they're not so pinned down to those courses that only meet once.
Right.
And so it gives them a wider range of opportunities.
Fantastic. That was going to be one of the questions. Anybody else? Any questions?
All right, thanks, y'all.
It is a motion, it's an action item. Mr. Rose, who was the second? Mr. Bingham? I have a motion by Mr. Rose and a second by Mr. Bingham to approve policy, revised policy EIC local, the academic achievement class ranking. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes. Next item under business, we already taken, we moved that up earlier. Are there any questions you have on the agenda items that were in your booklet, your packet? None? You have before you a reminder of the tentative agenda for next month, as well as upcoming events and activities. It's going to be a busy month until we meet again, and especially this week's going to be very busy. Any questions on that? I know the big one is
Wednesday.
well, that's Wednesday, but there's a big one coming Monday, November 25th through Friday, November 29th, Mesquite ISD holiday break. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to that. Nice Thanksgiving break, too. Any other questions on the calendar or events? If there's no other business and there's no objection, we are adjourned. Thank you.